Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. I'm glad you're here. Real quick, I have to say thank you to all the channel members. I'm so grateful for you guys. I appreciate it. And I want to say thank you for anybody who comes in to check out my knife, my EDC content. I appreciate you. If you haven't had a chance yet and you're so inclined, if you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon, really helps me out and it'll keep you updated on what's going on with the channel. So today, for those of you who don't have a lot of time, this is probably the finest pocket knife I've experienced in terms of what I like and don't like about knives. And that takes the place of several other knives that I thought nothing would top. The Oz Roosevelt being one, the Craig Brown FSD. This is, before I get ahead of myself, this is not my knife. This is my local BFF, A to Z EDC. You guys that have seen me at Blade Show, he's a guy that always goes with me to the Blade Shows. We collect knives together. He's nice enough to share knives with me, let me check them out after he gets them. And carry him for a little while. I don't hard use his knives. He's given me permission to use it like he does. I don't feel comfortable doing that, especially on knives like this. This knife is the Brown Knives, Craig Brown Knives, Cortex XL, number 347. This knife is a premium knife, small batch, USA manufactured, up in the wonderful state of Oregon, not too far from said Stevie, and it is I think around $850 in Magnacut, which this one is. I think you can get it for $800 even in CPM 154. I'm not sure though. But again, the reason I share ADC, good guy, he makes a lot of knives possible, like Lord Needham, like Paul Mills, and he has an Instagram. I think he's chronically underfollowed for the collection he shares. If you guys get a chance, do me a favor and go over and check out at A to Z EDC on the IG. So, back to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfection. Got to let them understand. This knife, the Craig Brown Cortex, has kind of left me speechless. I unboxed it a few days ago. I've been carrying it. I've been opened a couple of packages with it. The tip is an absolute splinter digger, an absolute detail cutter. You've got this milled, I think they call it 6A1 4V titanium, which is a very nice grade of titanium. I've not taken a knife apart, but you can see a maker's mark inside on this thin titanium scale. And you've got this titanium inset liner. I'm looking at it and I'm not showing it to you guys. You got this titanium inset liner that is milled out of this clip side or show side clip side titanium scale. And then you've got a very interesting lock. I don't know what the lock's called. Haven't been able to find out what or if the lock's called anything. You might call it a bolster lock. You might call it a recessed frame lock. You might just call it a frame lock. I look at it a little bit differently, and I have a hard time because this is an overview of a knife that I think is the finest knife I've ever handled. It's definitely on my grail list. Before I die, I will find a way to get one of these. You've got this little pass through here, right up by the pivot, and you've got this little jimped tab right there. You just push that out of the way. That moves the liner, which is locked up right here behind the tang. See if I can get that to focus. Damn it. But it's also, you've got this cutout in the blade, and this actual place that you push the finger out of the way seems to have an engagement point right here. So you've got engagement here, and I believe you've got secondary engagement. I'm not sure. I do know you can, when you take this knife apart, it comes with a little Allen wrench. I don't know if you can see it in the bag there, but it comes with a little Allen wrench. And on this blade, there are two, can't even show them to you guys, but they are two little circles, two little holes that have little adjustment pins in them. One of them is a detent adjustment here on the back side, and one of them is a lockup adjustment. I don't know how that would work. To me, the detent on this knife is dialed so perfectly. You got this flipper tab here. This kind of a top flipper, but I can easily just traditionally flip it because it's so well balanced. And then middle finger flick, it's money. I can't imagine ever wanting to adjust it. The only thing that I've found less than absolutely perfect is I've only been carrying this knife probably 5 days, 4 or 5, and I carry so many different knives that when I go for a liner lock, I'm going kind of right here. And this, you've only got this little, it's by no means too small. It's just I forget that that's where it goes because I'm brain dead. About a 1/2 inch. So you've got this little milled 1/2 inch push away or lock bar release that all you have to do is remember to get up there close to the pivot. It locks and unlocks like a dream, falls shut. Deep, deep, deep hollow grind on this blade. Has a very, like I've shown you, an astute and sharp reverse Tonto styled blade, shape, I guess you would say. You've got this nice knockdown swedge with this full blood groove slash fuller that gives you, or gives me, or would give anybody, I would think, the perfect place to thumb flick or middle finger flick it because it grabs very well. It also seems to be stonewashed or maybe acid etched in there where you've got this hand satin blade. And I'm assuming that's hand satin. It may be belt. It looks hand to me. But Craig Brown, when you learn about him, he's the creator of the FSD, which has that amazing button lock, button release, and the mini FSD. I think there might even be a couple of other knives, but his story is interesting. He is an aerospace engineer who's a knife guy who started probably one of the finest production knife companies in the country, not small batch companies in the country. I would say, after looking at this knife, I know it's my #1 knife that I want. It's different in terms of the way it feels. It fits my hand. Being a Cortex XL, I would have thought, because my buddy's a bigger guy, I would have thought this knife would have been bigger than what I would normally want. I don't think I would want any other Cortex. I think the XL, because I love my PM2, it's so thin, it's so gentlemanly, it carries with such a low profile that I don't think I'd want a smaller version necessarily. I think this is kind of it for me, right up my alley size-wise. And we'll look at some sizes here in a second and get some measurements. But it's just, I'm almost at a loss of words because to me, the first thing that attracts me to a knife is its look. So when I first saw this knife, after seeing the FSD, the Rosie, some other knives, it was beautiful. It wasn't screaming at me. I loved the blade. I loved the way it looked. But it wasn't one of those things that was I like when I sleep, sometimes I've dreamed about it. It's one of those weird knives that gets in your head, kind of like the Evo did for me after I tried it out. But when I actually unboxed it, and you guys hopefully got to see me unbox it or get it out of its case, I was kind of speechless because I didn't expect it to be so thin. I didn't expect it to be so perfectly balanced, light. Add euphemistic adjective here, because I mean there's not much that I can say about this knife that I don't think is perfect. What I alluded to with this lock bar release, that is a Javon thing. That's me not being used to it. If I'm thinking about it, I can do it all day long. There's nothing to it. I don't know if I can. I mean, you can open this knife multiple ways. Slow roll it. It's just an absolute masterpiece. I mean, again, and I have no affiliation with Craig Brown. I don't own a Craig Brown. I can't afford one, especially not right now. But I see enough knives, and I always make fun and joke about seeing thumbnails that say the best knife, this is the best, this is the best, this is the best. And I always say there's not a best. But I know that we all have things that speak to us on a certain level. This motherfucker is screaming at me. I've never had that happen. And I'm not, it's not that I've gotten, what's the word? It's not that I've kind of waned on my knife collecting, love of knives, love of checking out knives. It's just I feel like I've had the opportunity at different blade shows and with people sharing knives with me and the knives that I collect of handling a lot of things. So my point is, not a whole lot really surprises me. I see knives that are made well. I see knives that the design is exactly what I love, that a lot of times is new and fresh. Hats off to Devo Knives, little random shout out there. The type of knives that are different, right? They have their own soul. And then every now and then you come across a knife and it's just like, holy fuck. Liang Field Duty EDC. That was an experience for me. Still is. Still one of my top 5 knives. My number 1. And the Evo. They're knives that do that to me. My mini Arius, I love it. It speaks to me very loudly. It's one of my prized possessions. Same with my Hinderers. Same with my Medfords. They don't yell at me like this. They don't yell at me like the Rosie that I handled from my buddy. My buddy Lord Needham. And my buddy A to Z has a Rosie that he picked up from Brother Paul Mills. It's a beautiful putter pattern. Guys, this blade is so flippin' thin. I'm down to the end of my printer paper. You can tell it's got wrinkles in it, and it's kind of been over time moistified, I guess you'd call it. But this knife, how did I fail that? Is an absolute cutter's dream. I don't care if you're cutting a sandwich. I don't care if you're whittling a stick. I don't care if you're opening a package. I don't care if you're having to defend your honor of your Slurpee. This is a cutter, guys. It is an absolute solid, amazingly light for what it is, and we'll weigh it here in a second. Use that word again, masterpiece of a knife. And from my experience, which is limited, I haven't been in the knife game for as long as a lot of you guys and gals, but I have kind of, with my addictive personality, immersed myself in it pretty heavily. You know, done for a while there. I had like a buying problem, but I experienced a lot of knives. this one is special. I have a lot of special knives. This is not, I'm saying, hats off. I know it's the pinnacle of knives, and I'm sure they will be better. I'm just saying, if you get a chance at Blade Show, Buddy's got one, to experience the Cortex XL, or possibly the Cortex, which I've not experienced. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if it exists. I just know that the Cortex XL, this one, does, and it's splendid. It is, there's no need for me to just ramble about it because it's just so flipping good. I can show you guys a couple of things, then we'll get some measurements and a weight. We've got a deep hollow grind. I don't know if you can see that, if that's... So you've got a beautifully done, I'd say almost full. That fuller's where it starts, but just a aggressive hollow. Look at these plunge grinds, how perfect they are, how perfect of a sharpening choil that is. Perfect finger choil, big handle knife. I could easily grip it back here, but I would never want to. My natural grip goes right here. It feels like an extension of my hand. You've got a nice little backspacer here. You don't have a lanyard loop. I'm fine with that. You don't have a reversible clip. This one, with it being a liner lock, kind of a right-handed lock, I'm fine with that. I want to point out something that they could improve on, maybe, and I don't think so, because I think this flipper is part of this lock system that I would have to take this knife apart to find out, because when I push it out of the way, you see that little kind of like pyramid shaped thing right there under the lock bar that's indentation. So when this comes up and this lock bar locks into the tang here, something is happening with this flipper tab also going into that little indentation there. So my point is, I was going to say, if I could do something different, trying to find something that could be improved upon, maybe do something different with the flipper tab, but without thinking about it, I just hit the table with the blade. I can flip it without thinking about it. I can just go across it and flip it without thinking about it. This is perfectly jimped all the way across the top, right? So even if I wanted to get up front, I can do that kind of front flip. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, slow roll, 6, thin. I mean, guys, I'm going to quit talking. I don't know what else to say except, holy fuck, wonderful knife. I'm in love with it. I'm so thankful A to Z let me check it out because he just got it last Wednesday. I didn't expect to check this knife out for a month because I know he loves his knives. 8 inches long overall. Right under a 3.5 inch blade. Right, we'll call it 3.5 inch blade. Cutting area, 3 inches. Your inside handle, the knife itself, 3 3/4. That's here to here. To my grip, and I think your grip, the finger choil, you're going to be looking at a comfortable 4.5, which is right here. So about right here, 4.5 inches back to here. It's I got about a 3.5 inch spread on my hand, and this knife just fits like a glove. It goes in and out of pocket, and I'm wearing thick jeans like nobody's business. Deep carries to about right here, but looks fine coming out of your pocket because it's a gorgeous knife. It is size comparison time. Boom. And I apologize for this overview video, guys. This is just one of those rare knives that leaves me kind of speechless. And for me, that's kind of a weird feeling to have, being speechless. But I don't have the vocabulary to really put the quad that it gives me, makes me feel, into words. So it's a little bit bigger than the bug out. It's not a huge knife. I thought it was going to be closer to PM2 size, but I think we're going to find that it's going to be closer to bug out size. Maybe about a split in the difference. But for me, who's a small guy with a 3.5-inch hand, medium large size hand, it fits perfectly. For my buddy, A to Z, whose knife this is, who's got big old sausage hands, it fits him great. He loves it. He carries it all the time. Absolutely amazing, amazing work of aerospace engineer, knife manufacturing, design, wizardry, excellence. And I always say, don't ever trust a knife guy or a knife reviewer that's telling you something's the best thing ever. You don't have to trust me, and I'm sure this is not the best thing ever. It's just the best thing that I've experienced. .0155 behind the edge. Your blade stock of this Magnacut is 0.1285. The handle thickness is thin, 0.403. If I measure it off the clip, 0.55. However, I don't feel the clip when I'm holding it just naturally. And I've cut a lot of cardboard, and I will rip through some cardboard on camera. And I don't think Jeff will mind. We'll keep it with a little piece. Tears through it, guys. I mean, and it is such a utilitarian shape. I don't want to cut into my mat. I thought I got it. I didn't get all the way through it. But anyway, you get the point. Very, very sharp point. Acute point. Pokey stabby point. Beautiful, beautiful knife. Wonderful action. I think it's fantastically balanced. What else can I say, guys? Except I need to weigh it for you. And then I need to tell you how thankful I am that you stuck around this long to hear me gush about this knife. That's my buddy's. That is just a real gem. And I think if you look around and look at other people's opinions of this knife who've checked it out, I'd be interested, because I don't watch a lot of reviews. For one, I don't have a lot of time anymore. And for two, I kind of like to keep an open mind so that when I look at something, 3.7 ounces on a 3.5-inch blade. That's just perfect. That's a full titanium Magnacut knife, guys. 3.7 ounces. Absolutely. Home run, out of the park. Craig Brown is a wizard. I think he's got it together. From the wonderful state of Washington, close to our buddy said Stevie, right up there in the same neck of the woods with him. Brown knives. Not Brian Brown, who also makes awesome knives. These Craig Brown knives are, to me, on a different level. Of anything I've handled. Because when you handle an FSD that has that really unique button lock and the action that's just amazing and that beautiful blade, I guess you get kind of a taste. So when I saw that this was a liner lock, my first thought was, meh. that's not that special after I just saw this really cool lock. Guys, I just can say it might not seem special, but it is. It's very special. Let me see if I can talk. Very special. My favorite knife right now. The coolest, most elegant, most aerospacey, most Javon type of knife I've ever experienced. And I want to thank A to Z EDC for sharing it with me. Big shout out to him. So much so, please go sub to ADC. Follow on Instagram. His shit is good. And a huge shout out to Craig Brown, who I've never met, and the people that work for him that bring these designs to life. Maybe over time, when you look at a lot of knives, and I'm rambling at this point, I'm sorry, but maybe over time you kind of, it takes more to excite you maybe. I don't know, because that makes me sound like I'm jaded or ungrateful, and it's not that. It's just because I still love knives, but every now and then something comes along, and this is it, guys. I don't think you can find a better knife for EDC slicing. Now, if you're going out to split wood, it's thin, right? It's a cutter, it's a slicer. But if this is the style type of knife that you're looking for, and you're looking for something super premium, made in the USA, small batch, for around between $850, this is a win, an absolute win. Javon approved. I love it. It blew me away, continues to. I'm just bummed because now I got to give it back to A to Z. But guys, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for humoring me in the channel. Your support means everything to me, and it's been fantastic. I enjoy it so much. And I just ask, please, A, be more tolerant. Look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. And always choose debate, not hate. Footnote: debate is talking. One person talks, person absorbs what one person says. Then this person gets to talk, and this person listens. Neither one ever have to change their mind. But good debate is back and forth, not So that was just something I threw in there. I love you all. I've gone too long. This knife's got me under the ether. Peace.